Hello, welcome to my channel, Becoming Bev. Today I'm coming to you from 12 Mile Creek in Fredericktown, Missouri at my campground, Fred Rock. As you can see, it's pretty gorgeous here, and I just wanted to do this video here by the river today. Yvonne and I were talking on the phone one day, and she said to me, "Isn't it crazy how you buying that van changed your life?" It really did. Like, it changed the entire trajectory of my life. Somewhere along the way, the van became my home. Like, really, my little tiny house on wheels. I bought my van in December of 2019 from my friend Yvonne. Yvonne was at a time in her life where she was in a little bit of a funk and she just needed a project to work on. She bought this van, she gutted it, did all the decor. We put a twin-size bed in it, ran an extension cord through the floorboard, and bought a small dorm refrigerator for it. Her thoughts were to just take it to the campground and plug it in and use it. When Yvonne finished the van, she decided that she really didn't need it. She had an awesome mini Winnebago camper that was much better suited for her needs. So she called me up one day and she said, "Bev, how would you like to buy my van?" And honestly, van life wasn't even on my radar. Like, I really wasn't sure if I wanted it or not. Yvonne said, "Why don't you come and spend the weekend with me? We'll go camping, you can stay in the van, and then decide. Like, just see what you think." Waking up in that van just put a smile on my face. It just made me smile. And I gotta say, maybe it was that first weekend I fell in love with my van. I bought the van from Yvonne. I took it back to Texas, and right away I knew that I'd want to make a few changes in it. Now, when Yvonne set up the camper, she just had a twin-size bed in there on a normal bed platform. I knew that I would need more storage than that. I knew that I would want to set it up for boondocking. It's like, I don't always want to just go to a campground. I was also sure that I wanted a full-size bed in the van. I love being comfortable, and I knew that I would want to have room for travel companions to come with me. My friend James helped me with that first build. It was pretty simple, basically just a bed platform with some storage under it. It was a few trips to Home Depot and a couple of days' work, and the van was set up and good to go. Now, at that time, I also decided that I needed a jackery, so I purchased a jackery. I bought a car refrigerator, a 55-quart car refrigerator, a USB fan, and a 3-gallon jug with a pump on the top for water. I moved my Brad Pitt pillow into the van. I named the van Jennifer Vaniston, and I was ready to go. At that time, I still wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with the van. Maybe just a few weekend trips here and there, something like that. This was early 2020, and I was still doing quite a bit of international travel. I had created this crazy bucket list with 100 things on it when I went through my divorce, and I had been busy for quite a while just traveling around the world, checking things off my bucket list. Now, this property, the property that I'm currently sitting on, is in Fredericktown, Missouri. Fredericktown is the town that I grew up in. I was familiar with Fredericktown, plus my daughter had moved back here. So this real estate listing, it was kind of cute. Like, I love this story. My daughter was at the electric company paying our electric bill, and she has her real estate sign on the side of her car. And this little old lady comes over to her and she says, "Are you the real estate lady? My neighbor needs to talk to somebody about selling her house." As Misty tells me about the listing, and she says, "Mom, you got to see this place. It's incredible." She started sending me photos of it. I ended up buying this property sight unseen, other than photos and what my daughter had told me about it. I bought the property in January of 2020 with the agreement to take possession of it in April. Now, as all of you know, in March, COVID hit. And like the rest of the world, I got grounded. No more international travel, no more running around the world checking things off my bucket list. I got sent home. I self-quarantined for a couple of weeks. and then I drove my van to Missouri. The van became my home while we were cleaning up the property. That first summer, it was wonderful to have this as a project for COVID. We spent the whole summer just cleaning up the property and clearing out trails. We put flooring in the house and painted all the walls. So I stayed in my van while we were doing all that remodeling. I felt really blessed to have lots of work to do outside and lots of sunshine and this beautiful river to come to every day, and to be working on this project with my daughter. Misty and I had quite a summer with lots of adventures, lots of real life bloopers.
Shit. Whoopsie daisy. Holy moly.
So, Misty left eggs to boil on the stove, and then she went out to mow the grass. So I came in here, the house is full of smoke.
Oh no.
There's the boiled eggs.
I mean, that could have been bad.
They were exploding all over the kitchen.
Fried eggs. But the grass looks great. You should see the whole yard.
What you got there, Misty?
The third mouse this week that the little kitties have brought us.
That's a big one.
I know, it's fat.
Yeah. All right, without further ado, this is my daughter, Misty.
Am I supposed to snap now? Or was I supposed to clap?
All right, well, this just happened. The paint can got knocked over, spilled on the ground. All over my foot, all over my van. I'm laughing right here at the cat in the tree and the other cat up here on the rock wall. Here we go. All right, so this happened. I laid my car cover outside to dry. It was a little damp when I took it off. Airbnb, the Rustic Rose. We found this heart-shaped bathtub on Facebook Marketplace.
It's super roomy. My feet are...
Water Misty, and look what she just found.
Oh no! He's just wobbly.
A little wild baby bunny rabbit. Oh, there he goes. Here, this just happened. I was mowing the grass and I ran over this little black flexible hose. This is gonna be interesting. So I just looked out the window and this was going on. Then we see this going on over here too. Whoa, whoa. Now the next kind of significant event that happened was in June, I met Kevin from the channel 30 and a Wake Up. We met at the Depot restaurant in Fredericktown, Missouri, which I highly recommend. I was in my van and Kevin was in his van. So we started talking and we looked at each other's rigs, and we decided that it was a good idea for him to come to my campground the next day. Kevin had just bought his van and he was about to start a cross-country journey living in it. And my campground was his first stop. And he asked if he could interview me and do a tour of my van. We did that tour. He released that video on June 25th of 2020, and the video did really well. Today it has about 530,000 views. And it was kind of exciting. I didn't know anything about the world of YouTube. I thought YouTube is where you go if you need to look up something like how to string a weed eater. I started getting lots and lots of comments on Kevin's video asking if I had a YouTube channel. Now keep in mind, I knew nothing about editing. I knew nothing about filming, microphones, equipment, nothing about marketing the channel, like nothing about YouTube at all. But I kept getting this question over and over, so I thought, why not? Let me do this. I'm one of those people, I don't have to have all of my ducks in a row to do something. I just run through life and I expect my bridges to be there when I need them, and they typically are. I started my YouTube channel. It was pretty interesting. Again, I didn't know anything about editing. The first video that I did, I recorded it 3 times because I didn't know how to edit at all. So I just picked the best of the three that had the fewest mistakes in it. I started doing some reading, a little bit of research, and my goal with my videos was to just improve a little bit, like maybe 1 or 2% on each video. And now my goal is to make videos that don't suck. Now, the second thing that meeting Kevin did was it introduced me to the possibility of living in the van. It was something that I had never really thought of, but I found it really, really intriguing. I started toying with the idea of possibly going in the van full time. Along with that idea, I knew that I would need a round of upgrades in order to be comfortable in the van doing that. So I began looking for someone that could install a swivel seat on the passenger side, a rooftop air conditioner. I felt like I needed a new stereo. The one that I had was very crackly. It only had a cassette player and one old Elton John cassette. I also felt like I needed a backup camera after my friend Lewis said, you know, you should probably get a backup camera on this. And then I backed up into a wall like no sooner than those words came out of his mouth. I was also thinking I needed a better water setup and maybe a kitchen sink. I started looking around for someone that could possibly do the work, and I ended up meeting the guys at Griffen Automotive in Bonne Terre, Missouri. Everything that I said that I wanted, they said, we can do that. So I dropped my van off with them. It took about, I'm going to say 3 or 4 months for me to get the van back. And during that time, I began my YouTube channel. Again, I had no idea what I was doing. I was making videos about our vacation rentals, about bloopers and crazy things that Misty and I were getting into. I was interviewing my friends, and one day I was feeling a little bit down, and I thought, I don't want to feel this way. So I put on this crazy beaver onesie and ran around the backyard and did a video to see if that would make me feel better. Again, I was just practicing. I was learning how to film and edit and that sort of thing. So that's all that I was doing for the first couple of months. I got my van back in October. All right, I got my van back. Woohoo! I'm so excited. That's when I decided it was time to start my van life. I loaded up the van with mixed emotions and I headed out. I'm excited. It feels like a new adventure, but I'm also a little bit sad to be leaving Misty. And that first week, oh my God, what a mess. Like, the way that I had the van organized totally didn't work. I had my food stored under the bed where I'd have to get out of the van to get to it. I didn't really understand how everything worked. The first week I did a video, I called it discombobulated. Shit. That was a little tighter than I remember. All right, that could have went quite a bit smoother. All right, let's keep trying this. I'm an expert camper. I had a soft spot over there, and where I meant to do that. No, I have no idea what I'm doing, right? So we're gonna do, how about a breakfast taco this morning? I'm a little bit worried about my pan sliding off. This is gonna test my editing skills to the max. Oh my God, this is hideous. Maybe I'll do my own cooking show. I need a spoon. Here I go. think I dribbled jalapeno juice in the van. It's gonna be so good. All right, that's a little messy. This is not how I planned this video to go at all. It's not quite, the beans aren't quite warm. This fell on the ground. There, that's better. I think I'm starting to get the hang of this now. No, I'm not. The one that fell on the ground, or do you want the one that was still in the skillet? Alrighty, my plate's sliding off. Now what do I do? Okay. Oh God, it's gonna be a really good breakfast. And breakfast is served. Let's eat. Well, right away, I knew that I needed some better organization in the van in order for me to be happy. One thing I know about myself is I hate digging things out. My gray water tank was a science experiment. And I didn't have my heater situation figured out right away at all. I had bought this little 400-watt heater for boondocking and thinking that I could run it with the Jackery. Well, I could run it with the Jackery, but it drained that Jackery in about 2 hours. So I was in Guadalupe National Park. It was 26 degrees and I woke up so cold. My body was fine. Like the blankets and stuff kept me warm, but my face and my head were just freezing. I remember this one night, I took some clothespins and I was trying to like pull all the covers like up around my head, but not have them on my face. And I was making like a little tent around my head, thinking it would help me stay warm. After that, I did two things. I bought myself the bunny hat to keep my head warm. That's the best $11 I've ever spent in my life. And then one of the suggestions that I got was to wear a beanie or to buy myself a hat for when I go to sleep so the top of my head doesn't get cold at night. So I did that. I bought this hat. It's kind of cool too. It has these little squeeze things on the end so I can squeeze them and the ears go up. Yes, I did. So when I'm sleeping at night, if the hat comes loose, I can take this and pull it back down into place. And then I wake up in the morning and I can just do this. I can do it to music too. So this is my hat that helps keep my head warm at night. And I also bought a Little Buddy propane heater, which was a game changer. I discovered that I really like driveway camping or mooch stocking. It's a chance for me to get to spend time with friends and people that I care about. I also love adventuring. I love going on hikes. Yosemite was a huge highlight for me. This is one of the prettiest things I've ever seen. Take a look at this. For me, I took Angelina to see snow. I got to go to Big Bend National Park and hike down to the window and also see the Rio Grande for the first time. I discovered that sometimes it's better to take the long route instead of the fastest, most direct route. Whenever you see on the map, you know, your fastest route and then this route will take an hour longer or whatever. And I'd always kind of wondered, like, why do they even do that? Like, who's going to do that? And this morning, when I looked at the route that was going to take an hour longer, it was going to take me through Oak Creek Canyon, through Sedona. I took the route that takes a little bit longer. But look at what I'm looking at here right now. And of course, a couple of hikes around Vegas, Gold Strike, Hot Springs Canyon, and also the old railroad tracks around Lake Mead. I decided that the big bed in the van was absolutely the right decision for me. I love that big bed. I wake up in my van and I feel like I'm in a little posh hotel room. Now, are there challenges in van life? Absolutely, there are challenges. There was a low tire that I had to stop and get fixed when I was about 50 miles from the nearest town. I was worried about that. When I drove through Atlanta, I had a fuel tank leak. That cost me a couple of grand to fix. I've learned to be patient. Like, you can't be in a hurry when you're getting ready to go somewhere in the van. You need to take the time to do a walk around the outside of the van and also to check things on the inside of the van. I learned that after Yvonne had brought me a cup of hot chocolate and I drove off and got hot chocolate all over my white interior. So that only took one lesson. And then I have a love-hate relationship with the cassette toilet. I love it for middle of the night pees, but I hate emptying that thing. Now, the next major thing that happened is I stopped in Pearland, Texas. I was driving back from Quartzsite, Arizona. I did an SUV tour with my friend Larry. He has a Toyota 4Runner that he set up for doing some crazy off-grid camping. I saw Larry's workmanship and was super impressed. And of course, he saw my van and had lots of ideas about how I could make it better. If you haven't seen Larry's Toyota 4Runner video, take a look at it. He really did an amazing job with his rig. Larry had several ideas to make my van better, and plus he was kind of wanting to get into the van build business as a part-time gig, and he just needed to get a couple of builds under his belt to give himself some credibility to have that, to start that new business. In March of this year, I left my van with Larry. We knew it would take a while. Larry has a full-time job, so he was doing this in his spare time. And the timing was really good. It was spring back in Missouri, and Misty asked me to come and help her at the campground. The current build includes a huge upgrade in the electrical system and the battery power in the van, a new bed platform with way better utilization of the storage, and also with drawers that pull out with sliders. He completely revamped my storage, taking advantage of every square inch under that bed. Larry remodeled my kitchen to totally take advantage of the kitchen cabinet. Before, it had my freshwater tank and my gray water tank, and there was really no storage in the cabinet. So Larry moved the freshwater tank under the bed. We got a smaller gray water tank. He put in some drawers, so now I have a place to put groceries and dishes and silverware, so it doesn't clutter up the van like my setup that I had before. You can check out Larry's build on his YouTube channel, Ramblin' Man Conversions, if you want to see the details and the workmanship that he's done with my van. I'm pretty excited. I get my van back next week. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. When I watch Larry's videos, I get a little bit melancholy and I miss my little tiny house. So can a van change your life? Absolutely, a van can change your life. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. I appreciate you being here. You should really get yourself one of these hats. And as always, remember, if you keep watching, I'll keep posting content.